New York Times with another story about sexual harassment settlements regarding Bill O'Reilly. Now remember, he'd already settled 5 cases. This is number 6. And this one he settled personally for a stunning amount of money. This did not come from Fox News. They knew about it. They claimed they didn't know what the number was, but they knew that it happened and they gave him a big contract anyway. So let's get to all the details, stunning details. As the Times reports, last January, 6 months after Fox News ousted its chairman amid a sexual harassment scandal, the network's top-rated host at the time, Bill O'Reilly, struck a $32 million agreement with a longtime network analyst to settle new sexual harassment allegations, according to 2 people briefed on the matter, an extraordinarily large amount for such cases. Gretchen Carlson, who got $20 million from Fox News on similar charges against Ailes and the company overall, said nobody settles for $32 million if they didn't do it. That seems to be unassailable logic. Now you could disagree and go, oh yeah, he's rich. He can throw around $32 million for false charges because Bill O'Reilly, he's a wilting flower. I mean, he wouldn't want to fight false charges, right? Only way he settles is if those charges were absolutely true. More details on what they were. Although the deal has not been previously made public, the network's parent company, 21st Century Fox, acknowledges that it was aware of the woman's complaints about Mr. O'Reilly. They included allegations of repeated harassment, a non-consensual sexual relationship, and the sending of gay pornography and other sexually explicit material to her, according to people briefed on the matter. Look, there's a part of that I care deeply about and a part I don't care about at all, okay? I don't care what kind of pornography he was sending to this person. If it was consensual, that's their business, not my business. And by the way, they say gay pornography, I don't know what that means. If you're thinking I do, okay, it could mean as in straight, not straight male, gay male pornography. It could mean as in gay female pornography. I believe that some straight men have, from time to time watched lesbian porn, okay? So it is not my defense of Bill O'Reilly. I just want you to know that I'm being as fair as possible. The non-consensual sex, that is 1,000,000,000% unacceptable. So if it's consensual, let them watch whatever porn they want to watch. Who cares? Because we're not moralists like Bill O'Reilly and Fox News. We don't talk about family values and pretend that we have better values than you do and we're going to judge you day in and day out. That's Bill O'Reilly's job. But if it's non-consensual, hell no. And so you're telling me Fox News, you know about this and then you gave him the contract? Oh boy, all right, let's get to those details. It was at least a 6th agreement and by far the largest made by either Mr. O'Reilly or the company to settle harassment allegations against him. Despite that record, 21st Century Fox began contract negotiations with Mr. O'Reilly and in February granted him a 4-year extension that paid $25 million a year. So they're like, oh Bill, this is your 6th case that you have settled for women that said they were sexually harassed by you and you gave them money because you were afraid they were right or for whatever reason you were afraid. And now, despite the fact that I know that, I'm going to turn around and give you a $100 million contract anyway. Gee, I wonder what 21st Century Fox's values are. Are they the same as your family values? And maybe for the old right-wingers like Rupert Murdoch, he thinks, yeah, of course. Look, back in the good old days, we used to be able to do whatever we wanted to women. So would I give O'Reilly $100 million knowing that he's a serial sexual harasser? Of course I would. He did. The proof's in the pudding. In January, the reporting shows Rupert Murdoch and his sons Lachlan and James, the top executives at 21st Century Fox, made a business calculation to stand by Mr. O'Reilly despite his most recent and potentially most explosive harassment dispute. Their decision came as the company was trying to convince its employees, its board, and the public that it had cleaned up the network's workplace culture. At the same time, they were determined to hold on to Mr. O'Reilly, whose value to the network increased after the departure of another prominent host, Megyn Kelly. Oh my God, they cared more about the money than they did about actual human beings and whether they were forced into sexual acts by their star host. It was a business decision. Meanwhile, they're going around telling everybody, oh yeah, Ailes, that was an aberration. We cleaned this thing up. But no, Fox News is great now. It's a wonderful place to work. Meanwhile, they secretly know, oh my God, O'Reilly just had another giant settlement for another sexual harassment case. Who cares? Is he making us money? Good, good, good. Bring him in, bring him in. Now, there were other business considerations, and that's the only thing that eventually got O'Reilly fired anyway when we found out about this. So a little bit of that from the New York Times. But by April, the Murdochs decided to jettison Mr. O'Reilly as some of the settlements became public and posed a significant threat to their business empire, okay? Now, it's because they were trying to buy another media organization in the UK, and meanwhile, advertisers started dropping out of O'Reilly's program. They're like, well, now we're making less money from the sexual harasser who has settled for non-consensual sex, okay? And it might cost us money over in the UK for another part of our business empire. Oh, I got it. We'll pretend to be moral, and we'll have all the other hosts still talk about family values. Meanwhile, we'll push for war on air. We'll push for all these different things that are despicable, and the death penalty, and all these things where people die. We'll call that family values, but now we'll turn around and fire O'Reilly and pretend we did it for moral reasons. Hilarious, Murdochs, hilarious, okay? Now, the woman involved is Miss Wheel. I don't want to talk too much about her. She's dragged into this, but you got to know who she is in order for you to understand the context of this. She's a legal analyst, and she was on Fox News for 15 years. So let me give you a little bit of context here from the Times. The settlement with Miss Wheel was more than 3 times the amount of any of Mr. O'Reilly's previously known deals. In 2004, he had settled a lawsuit with a producer, Andrea Macris, for about $9 million. Publicly known harassment settlements involving Mr. O'Reilly have now totaled about $45 million. There might be other ones we don't know about, but so far he has paid out of pocket $45 million to settle case after case after case. And in the Andrea Macris case, we do know the details because the phone conversations were leaked, and he would call her up and without any of her participation or permission, begin to masturbate over the phone and telling her how he's doing it and how he'd like to rub loofahs and falafels all over her. And it's just, look, again, if you're gonna have phone sex and it's consensual, I don't care what your sandwiches you're smearing on each other. But she didn't ask for it. She didn't tell you it was okay. You just call her out of the blue without her participation. You can tell it's on the phone call. She doesn't participate at all. And he just keeps going and going and going. And this is a person who works with him, and he is clearly in a position where he can affect her job. It's like, you stay on the phone and you listen to this. What does that remind you of? And by the way, another executive, Harvey Weinstein, who told a woman when she didn't refuse to have sex with him, well then just shut up and stand there as he masturbated in front of her. Jesus Christ. Okay, family values, guys. All right, and Weinstein is theoretically liberal. O'Reilly pretends to have family values and is clearly conservative. So, although the matter had been settled confidentially, Mr. O'Reilly's lawyers were concerned about keeping the dollar figure secret. Mr. Newman provided the company with a document that informed them of the deal but did not include a dollar figure. That makes News Corp's or 21st Century Fox's claims about not knowing the number figure a little bit more believable, but does it really matter that much? What if it was for only $3 million or only $12 million, only $24 million? Would it make a difference? If the allegations in this case are true and O'Reilly has settled that case knowing that he does not want to dispute it, he does not want to go to open court and say that it's not true. These are the Fox News guys, the O'Reilly guys, they love a fight. They start fights day in and day out. You think O'Reilly's gonna shy away from that fight? The only way he's gonna do it is because it's true. Okay, the first time that Bill O'Reilly had Wheel on his show, he's almost doing it on air. This is the exchange that happened. He said, hey, you know, Liz, I got you this job. You know that. She says, I know you did, I know. O'Reilly says, so you owe me big. And she says, no, no, no. Which, by the way, pretty much defined their relationship going forward if these charges are true. And again, he paid $32 million, probably because he thinks, oh yeah, they're true. and they didn't want it getting out. Okay, Mr. O'Reilly also made suggestive remarks to Ms. Wheel on the air. During one segment on his radio show in 2005 about a strip club, he suggested that she learn how to dance for a $10,000 tip. Now, if they're friends, old friends, and that's the kind of show he's doing, you say, hey, they're having fun, that's their banter, that's their business, not my business. She is a legal analyst. She didn't ask to have those kind of conversations. She literally says on air, no, no, no. And then he's talking about how she should go make tips at a strip club. Real classy. Look, you could do, if it was just that, again, you could say he's a pig and leave it at that. But once you get into non-consensual sexual situations, hell no. He should have been gone immediately when they found out about it. Okay, dated January 7th. Now this is the actual contract, the settlement terms. It called for Ms. Wheel to be paid over a period of time to ensure her silence. In return, she agreed not to sue Mr. O'Reilly, Fox News or 21st Century Fox. And all photos, text messages, and other communications between the two would be destroyed. But wait, Bill, if you're right that it's not true, which he now absolutely insists, why would you want to get rid of the evidence? Wouldn't you want to keep the evidence? Because the evidence is going to prove you right. No, part of the settlement was shred the evidence. Whatever you do, light that evidence on fire. Gee, I wonder who was right and who's wrong. I can't quite tell. In recent weeks, Mr. O'Reilly has made several public appearances to promote a new book, as the Times explains. He said on the Today Show that he never sent a lewd text or email to a Fox News employee, that his conscience is clear, and that a, quote, political and financial hit job brought him down. If you never sent any of those text messages, why does it say in the settlement, destroy the text messages I sent you? Oops. So how in the world is he going to defend the indefensible? Just when you thought it couldn't get worse from Mr. Family Values, he's going to hide behind his kids. I wasn't going to do this part, but he literally brought it up over half a dozen times, some of which you'll see here. I mean, we might hit that count just on the audio that I'm going to share with you. But overall, in all of his defenses, possibly over a dozen times, anytime the charge is brought up, he hides behind his kids. Listen.
This experience, I've been in the broadcast business, journalism business for 43 years. I've never had one complaint filed against me by a coworker in any human resources department in 43 years. That encompasses 12 different companies. So all of a sudden, all this stuff happens, and the pain it brings to my children is indescribable. Indescribable. And I would give up my life to protect my children, but I find myself not being able to protect them because of things that are being said about me, their father. And I will go back to my children. So when situations arose, we handled them as methodically and as responsibly as we could without putting my children in grave danger.
Nobody brought up your kids. And if they did, I would chastise them. Say, what do his poor kids have anything to do with this guy? They don't have anything to do with him. They're not connected to him. They didn't have it. Jesus, don't get him involved in this. He's the only one bringing up his kids. And he keeps going, oh my God, this is going to hurt my kids. Well, maybe you should have thought about that before you did the non-consensual sex. Maybe you should have thought about that before sexually harassing one woman after another that worked with you. But when you were doing that, and you were doing the loofah and the falafel and everything else, then you didn't worry about your kids. Now that you've been caught, all of a sudden, oh, my kids, my kids, my kids. Oh, yeah. That's really genuine, Bill, and that's really classy. Look, I'm gonna leave out what his kids actually said about him in his divorce settlement, because I don't wanna go there. But he does it over and over again. Here, listen, now that was with the New York Times earlier, this is with Glenn Beck.
You gotta understand how much pain this brings children. And I thought I could spare my children that. I'd do anything for my children, anything to protect them. I'd give up my life for my children.
I'd do anything except not sexually harass women at work. That I won't do. It's so gross that he's hiding behind his kids. What a terrible, terrible guy. And then that argument earlier about, oh, nobody ever brought it to human resources. That's because you paid them millions of dollars. And the idea that technically they didn't go to human resources, that's your one big aha. You paid one of them $9 million, you paid another one $32 million. I think that's a little bit more evidence than they didn't technically go to human resources at the right time. Okay, one last thing now. We're not the only ones that are skeptical about the number and how gigantic it is if he didn't actually do it. Even Glenn Beck was skeptical. And then listen to Bill O'Reilly's non-answer here.
Okay, you can settle, but $32 million coming out of your own pocket, nobody does that.
Right.
So
what do you want me to say? I'm not. The only comment I could make on that issue without getting the thing back into a legal arena would be the first article that the New York Times wrote, quoted figures and added them up, and it was wildly wrong. But I can't confirm or deny anything, because once I do that, then it goes back into the legal arena, which you don't want, and they know that.
Was this settlement by you alone, or was Fox involved?
I can't, Beck, as I told you off the camera, I know you have to ask the questions for your audience. I can't comment on any specific case at all. If I could, I would, but I cannot. I know it's frustrating.
No, it's really frustrating because
it is very frustrating for me. You can imagine me sitting here, all right, being accused of everything under the sun, and the end game is let's link O'Reilly with Harvey Weinstein. Let's make him that. That's what we want to do. But unless I want another 7 or 8 years of constant litigation that puts my children in a kill zone, I have to maintain my discipline.
There he goes again. Children in the kill zone. What on God's green earth are you talking about? So bottom line is 32 million. That's kind of hard to understand if you didn't do it. Quote, what do you want me to say? And then he's like, oh man, I can't because of the legal situation. But it's not like your money's on the line in terms of like, they didn't pay you, you paid them. You paid them so that it wouldn't be out in the open. So if you want, you can talk about it all you want. You're the one that said in those settlements, you are, whether it's Wheel or anyone else, you're not allowed to talk about this in public. It didn't say you're not allowed to talk about it. You're allowed to talk it all you want because you're the one who did it. You're the one who paid them the money so they wouldn't talk. Totally disingenuous. This is who Bill O'Reilly is. He's a sick, sick man. And for all those years, for decades, News Corp paid him to lecture you about family values and how you weren't good enough and that he was going to judge your values. Meanwhile, he goes home and does this. So the next time somebody talks to you about family values and how they are more moral than you, remember Bill O'Reilly, remember Roger Ailes and what they were doing in private. They don't mean a word of it. They're the world's biggest hypocrites. Watch the Young Turks commercial-free, download it or stream it, watch it any way you like at tytnetwork.com/join.